over that. I almost want a bit more of it. But I don't know if that song I really do. He didn't really take this earlier. Okay, so this is a better title, and then it kind of, we'll see what happens. So, I'm having a slow start just because I'm just pacing it, and it's hasn't been a super active day, but it's kind of been active. And just suddenly, this phone said it wanted to behave. It's at 51% though, so unfortunately the cord is not super long, or doesn't reach very far. But I guess the dog went out there. Um, and I'm kind of just waiting for people to tune in and join in the conversation, which hasn't started yet, but hopefully it will soon. Um, and yeah. Um, I don't think the radio is that loud, but I just don't want there to be any problem having it playing um, in the background. I was just remembering actually too that I did write some lyrics earlier, and I thought I might share them. So I'll try and find them here. Well, actually, I also put them in another spot just to know. I'm just gonna lay that down for a moment. A while back, I did a video, and I said I felt like there had been some sort of positive spiritual interception, and I don't even remember what it was about because it was a while ago. Not super long ago, but at least I would say probably a month, maybe almost 2 months ago. And I'm kind of feeling uh, similar at the moment. Um, I don't know how specific I should be about that, um, but okay, and there's that. Um, the weekend isn't busy, but isn't not. It really mostly isn't that busy. A little bit maybe, but yeah, I want to have that, which might take a while to get to me, so that I can do the next step. But and then anything, everyone can go to. Whoops, sorry, just dropped something on the ground. I just need to put this down and find it. But the timing, somebody has just tuned in. I've just started rolling, so welcome. There it is. I was trying to get the lid off of it though, so I still might have to put this down. So just a moment. There we go. Okay, so, and they left impatiently. And that could be a topic. Totally. Why do we, I'll roll with whatever comes up, mostly. So whether that's a comment, or an indicator, or a thought, mostly, because I say that, but a few minutes ago I thought to read my lyrics, and I'm not finding myself doing so. And mentioning it again is making me think to do so. But I do feel like talking about patience. I every now and then kind of dip into the topic on here, but I do feel like it's maybe worthwhile. So I do feel like it's maybe a worthwhile topic to talk about because saw a video a while back, actually, and I was thinking about that because with connectivity issues, hopefully this one will be long enough that people will think, oh yeah, he must have got into some stuff because life is definitely more than a few minutes. More than a couple hours, too, worth of topic. But yeah, I noticed somebody, she really didn't need to be interacting. She really just seemed to have it there. And I'm not judging. I mean, I somewhat get it. Just for a sense of company, but then also, yeah. But anyway, I don't know whether I should be talking about patience in life, something else that you might be interested to talk about this thing called life. I know we all have different lives, but we all also have very similar. And they're like, yeah, exactly, bye. I mean, maybe not, but maybe so. Or maybe like, ooh, this could be deep, I'll have to watch it later. Who knows? All I know is that this is, I mean, mostly supposed to be interactive, but I can carry it as well. So I'm just quickly sending something. In the process of doing something, I'm also trying to decide about doing. And that's another topic within life. We're always going to have to make decisions. And sometimes hard ones. And like, yeah, I'm deciding not to. I mean, one thing I should state before I do too much of that, because I don't know, it's a way of kind of brushing it off, both making light of it, but also, I don't know, giving myself a little bit of a reminder, a little bit of a motivator or whatever. But at the same time, again, that's where the patients can come in too, right? Whether you're a doctor or not. But as far as decision making, it can be a very hard thing, and I'm curious your thoughts about it. I mean, we all have to make decisions in life. And like I say, some of them aren't easy ones. So I'm curious your thoughts about that. I struggle with it, personally, and the viewer left. They're like, actually, I've got some decisions I gotta go make anyway. And like the one I'm kind of thinking about at the moment, is not necessarily. Hopefully, I'll have multiple draft now. Is not necessarily. What did I say? I think I've made it, but I'm not entirely sure. And how do you know when you've made it? The decision and in life. Well, I think the latter is actually a pretty obvious answer. I would say it's when you're happy and fulfilled and feeling successful and feeling mostly like you're living a balanced life. And or that you're doing the things that will get you there. And they even knowing and feeling into that, is something that will take practice and stuff, right? So, at the same time, if I can't find it, then what I was looking for, then I can't find it. I guess I could search the name. That might work. Actually, I think this is it. Okay, sorry. I'm just slightly distracted, but that's another part about life. All of these things are very human. For some of us, more of a struggle than others, right? So it's not that I'm not invested in doing this video and I'm not focused in doing it, but I do have ADHD and I do have something on my mind, so you're getting a bit of both. Which is not usually a good thing, right? Well, most of the time. When the other person at home gets home, and it might be a little bit earlier because it's a Friday, then we will do what we can. Or then I will have to wrap up. But so I know I have things on my mind, and I know you probably have things on yours. I've only been rolling for about 10 minutes, and we have one person here right now, and they left. They're like, yeah, but I'm not going to tell a stranger. Well, and this is the thing, and it's interesting, if we all And I'm not meaning to say that, people that are seeing this, there aren't people who are thoughtful people, or thoughtless even. But this is the thing, like, um, and I've already kind of forgotten what it was I was going to state, but that's okay. That happens too, right? As you're being a human living life. Um, hmm. This thought, I kind of want to wait till somebody tunes in. And again, with the AC on and with me, yeah, I don't think the radio's here, but hopefully it isn't. But the thought that everybody starts out a stranger, I mean, except for your parents, I guess, and family, people that you meet from a very young age, classmates anyway. Hello, N, is that your username? What does that stand for? And is that a black cat? Do you believe in other dimensions of being? Mostly, yes. Do you? And have you seen any of the videos before, or is this your first time just tuning in just now? I do apologize if the connectivity fluctuates within this, but this device has been mostly good today. So what does N stand for, and where are you watching from? And we have a second viewer too. So yeah, just be patient. I'll try and come back, although I've got, and I'm not planning to go anywhere, but if my device is being wonky, I've got, I would say, probably at least half an hour, maybe a little longer. So it was the thing. Yeah, we all. Yeah, well, the person who's commenting is, I believe, the person who's still here. So, um, so, if it's not, yeah, N is the letter that represents the joining of two things. I don't know if I've ever heard of that, but okay. So we are Nning. We are joining in thought and conversation. And we have a second person here, and I will state, I mean, I think it's obvious, but sometimes maybe we don't think of the obvious, and the person left. But, and I don't think it's N, because you seem to be enjoying to be here. What do I want to do next? Do we want to talk about a decision I'm trying to make, a decision you're trying to make, some lyrics I wrote earlier today, something else about life? I kind of like how I narrowed it down to 3, and then I got very generic. But I'll let you pick, because I sometimes struggle to. And I want to make this, let's start with me. Oh, where do we start? With an M and with an E. I've got to say, I appreciate that. As someone who's not very familiar, we're not very familiar with each other. I mean, you probably have an element of curiosity, but it's interesting how you're putting someone else before yourself. I try to do that in my life. I really do. But we also have to focus on ourselves. It's true. So as far as me, like, kind of one of the things that prompted this video is, if I'm being completely honest, I mean, although again it was also very general. Oh, thanks. And I feel the same about you. I'm trying to. It's really small on this device, but I think I'm seeing what the picture is, and I'm not sure what to think. But if I'm seeing right, but anywho, so. I'm going to just say what's most. Okay. Hopefully it brings you luck. We all need luck, right? And some of us struggle to get it, even though we're good, kind-hearted people. It's another weird thing about life, I mean, and people can do all kinds of crazy things and be a very lucky person, and either not do or think of doing, depending on your definition of crazy, and it also variable. But what I'm thinking about most strongly, I mean, sure, there could be more than one thing, but if I was to say most strongly, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of unique, I think. We have a theater festival happening nearby coming up. and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to be involved in, I guess, kind of the usual ways, but each year is its own year. However, I was also hoping to have a show. And, it's 3 weeks' notice, but I said it's going to be simple, even if I just do the minimum amount, like 3 to 4, whatever it is, shows. Um, wouldn't, I mean, I was very precise. I can't remember the exact details, but, I was very precise. Like, it wouldn't take a lot to put it on, this and that. And the guy didn't communicate very well. I mean, if he sees this is my thoughts, dude. I mean, or however you identify. I mean, because it's pretty much like he didn't say they never do that. He missed the fact that I was trying to get filled a spot of one that had canceled. Sure, they have many different. They have many. I think it's something like 16 to 18. It might even be a little more than that. Venues that shows are happening at. So it's not like there's a shortage, but it meant a lot to me. I said, life is short. I'm not sure about my health. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was a little while ago, but still, and that part seems to have went, you know, maybe because he's like, well, I'm 60 or 70 years old, so it's not that short. You know what I mean? Because I think he might be around that age range. Um, the phrase itself, phrases that we hear in life, is also kind of an interesting topic, right? Right? Right. I don't know how I'm saying it like that. But, like, I don't know. It's just kind of. And feel free to keep commenting. I mean, if you're worried that you're going to distract me, I have ADHD. I mean, you know. um, but, um, but no, I mean, it truly can be, though. It truly can be. Think about someone, and can't be as well. Like, I think of somebody that I know who passed away in her early 30s. I think of someone else that I know who recently passed away at 104. I mean, you know. And then there are really sad stories of infants passing after birth, you know. Okay, that didn't take too long to get back. Hopefully you're still. What shows did you want to put on? Um, well, it's not anything super well known. It's just an original piece about, ironically, life. Okay. Well, that was a short comment to all the things I said. Although I appreciate that it was a comment, I don't know. Are you still there or not? Because there has been times lately where it'll both indicate first that someone's there and then that they're not, but they haven't went anywhere. So maybe you are still here. Um, but either way, I'm trying to figure out, why this has happened and come to accept it, and if there's anything else that I need to do to either make it happen or to show that I understand that it won't. I thought that was I think that that's a very curious and unique kind of. I just want to confirm that somebody is still here after that. You may notice, but for the connectivity issues, that I became a little bit more, for lack of a different way to put it. Oh, I don't know if it's here at all, but okay. But to answer that viewer's question, which this is the cell phone, if you couldn't tell by the way it's being, I can certainly from my end, and what you might know about my wonky device, it's what I have available at the moment. Live chat, I either didn't notice it or there is no option whether you want it to display afterwards or not. So it probably will, But either way, um, the person had asked. Now they called me brother, so to me, I think that means that they are this person. I'm not gonna venture to guess because I don't know, but I will admit that I don't. Anyway, had asked what shows did I want to put on, and it's very interesting because if this YouTube channel isn't evident of it, I mean, and I wouldn't even call it a show sometimes, but I mean, sometimes it's more light and creative, and sometimes it's more heavy, and sometimes it's a bit of both. But if you've gotten this far, by the way, I will state something that I feel is important. If you've gotten this far and you deciding that this is freezing up too much or whatever, don't let statistics, which may be the YouTube forum being wonky as it sometimes is, as great as it is, or make your own decision as for, that just how does the video look like it's doing. Because I mean, aside from the wonkiness, the person who was commenting seemed to be enjoying the chat, and either something came up or they had to go because, or they would get annoyed because it kept maybe freezing up. And I do apologize. So, whoever was there for a few seconds left. But I will state that if you look at the one I did this morning, I seem to remember, and that may be when Sheila left, I seem to remember it dropping once, but it otherwise was pretty good. And then as far as, not being wonky in the content, and then if you go back, some days I do more than one, usually 3 at most. If you go back, I would say, there's 2 of us on this channel, I would say 7 or 8 videos. That's when they were all done with my laptop, and the laptop is pretty good at being not wonky. So that those ones, you could say is where it's really at. But there was somebody that was like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do that, and they're like, I don't know, because they were there for like a few seconds right as I was saying that. But at the same time, yeah. Well, this is not loading properly anyway. But no, to anybody who's watching, has the power to from other dimensions, as I think that viewer says, has the power to bring me luck. I mean, I'm also doing it because maybe I feel like there's just looked like there was I'm gonna reuse a tab on this device, and I just want to look into something quickly out of curiosity. So I'm just getting some grit from the charging port. I don't want to push it further in. Maybe I shouldn't be jamming this in there either, but no, just kidding. That's not bad. I'm just trying to put the charger in, so sorry about the wobble. Okay, then I accidentally went to my home screen, but then it came back instantly, so that's good. Okay, so I don't know, it's a Friday, so the other person in the house may or may not be getting home from work early and will be tired, and there's somewhat routine, so I'll have to wrap up then. But there is a nice breeze, but it's quite hot out. But if it isn't getting off work early, then I've got half an hour plus 15 minutes commute, about 15 minutes, so, of the other person. So I've got some time, so let's do it. Woo! The things that make us do things, and our ways of thinking and approaching those things could be interesting. Because I don't think I'm going to keep this one tab open that I had open, but that kind of made me think of it. Now it's interesting when I search the name, it does not say that that there's a lot. Oh yes, it does there though. I'm not saying anything. Also because there's nobody watching right now, so that I can see anyway. Scheduled, which means it hasn't posted yet. So this is the one. I believe this is the title that I believe this is the one that's rolling. Why does it not say it's live? Okay, until I click it. Weird. Okay. Um, and on this device, it's not showing the comments. But on this one that I'm doing it on, it is though. So again, I do apologize if the connectivity is a little bit iffy. It's what I have available at the moment, but we do our best. Like I say, videos probably a couple weeks ago that I had a different device available to me and quite consistently. But let's roll with this and try it. But otherwise, if you're curious and you're looking for a video that doesn't freeze up, if it starts to, and you don't feel like being patient, I wouldn't judge you. And they left, so maybe I would. Like, well, no, but maybe I wouldn't because maybe they're like, yeah, no. I mean, if this has potential to freeze up, anytime a device does that, it drives me nuts from my years of working with devices that freeze up, at work or whatever it is, and so I'll check out his other stuff. That's weird. None. That's really odd. When I click into my video, it also says there's one watching, but in this browser, I don't think it would mention that it's me. I'm not signed in to any YouTube. I'm just using it to, and it doesn't say that there's one watching here. So unless that's inaccurate, but it says live infinity nan is in grandmother. And why does it say that? Unless it's saying that you're, well, usually it would still say how long it is, unless it's saying, who knows, it's going to infinity or whenever I wrap up. These little wonders. The big things that you wonder, the little things that you wonder. Perhaps you're meant to. Perhaps they matter. You know? And you do. And I'm at a loss for words at such a statement. Just kidding. No, it doesn't happen often, but I kind of am. So I'm just enjoying, just acknowledging this moment of silence. We could even say a moment of silence and reflection, as hard as it is, for what may not be, or has yet to be, and the feelings that brings up, both my own life and in yours. And that was quite deep, and I know potentially uncomfortable. Nobody's here watching that's noticing. And it is really uncomfortable. I mean, sure, we can also, if it's uncomfortable and we'd rather not, but maybe worthwhile to try, we could also take a moment to reflect on what is and the goodness that we have in our life and have had. It's interesting, sometimes when you do an exercise like that, the thoughts just start flooding, and other times it's like where how is the dust going to settle, for lack of a different way of putting it. And I'm experiencing as I'm trying this exercise, perhaps for the first time, this specifically, I don't know what I'd rather focus on, or I'm struggling to think of specifics. At the same time, I'm finding, interestingly, that my mind is very overwhelmed either way. And I think most people would say that. I almost don't care how old you are. I mean, a lot of kids and young people, or a lot of young people have went through a lot, good and bad. And to sit and think about that is. But here's an interesting thought. Again, I'm not perfect. Some of these things, take practice myself, and sometimes I'll forget even that I mentioned them by next week. You know what I mean? Or, no, just kidding. But perhaps if the feelings are negative or uncomfortable, then yeah, try harder for the positive and more comfortable. Somebody left briefly like, oh, they're talking about negative and uncomfortable. Bye. You know, who knows? I mean, it. I've learned something interesting about myself in life. A lot of things probably, but one thing I've learned, and again, I'm just putting this down for a moment. It's still a process. It's still a process, and it's still kind of ebbs and flows, for lack of a different way to put it. But I feel like I just said that phrase not that long ago, so sorry for saying it again. But no biggie, right? Anywho, which actually kind of reminds me a little bit of this. But what was I gonna say? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm sure it was great. Not to toot my own bugle, but I think it was great. And maybe it'll be in future videos or in the comments or. But. This thing called breathing, we all do it all the time, but sometimes shallow, sometimes rapid, and just finding that level breathing. And realizing, as we all know, that it is a life force and it can be taken from any of us in various ways at any time. And how that is. Oh, I just want to check something quickly. I just remembered something. Now, did he get up because he heard something? What? That's weird. That's really odd. We have some maple syrup on the counter in a jug thingy. And, oh, he is home. Before I even processed it, I felt like I got a smeller. Hi. Now that this finally comes back, although it's pretty quiet, so I'm going to keep rolling until it drops again, and then I'll try 15, 25 times to reconnect just to wrap it up. Because it is that time. And yeah, nobody's here. But at the same ability and the possibility that someone might be here. Other than the person who just walked in. Oh, and such alive. And we're back. Oh, and such alive. And we're back. Just like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to work on wrapping this up. unless somebody tunes in very quickly and starts to say lovely things. But even still, I mean, it's a Friday, so I know one of the people in the house. There's two of us, a dog and KJ. Um, likes to say, "Oh, we can be a bit more flexible." I still like the consistency and the routine for the most part, but it is true. It is true as well. So, but the connectivity thing, and then also those reasons, yes, I don't want to be, I do and I don't. What's keeping me here is that the fact that, I don't know if I'd say there's days that this device has been wonkier, but the fact, I don't know, but I think that I put some good stuff into this, is that, either the person that was here earlier or, um, do you believe in other dimensions of being? First time brother, and is a letter that represents the joining of two things, also my name. But I'm not going to share that. Okay, I missed that one, but I understand that, and to be honest, even if I did share it, life is a journey, let's just say that, of growing and learning and figuring things out, right? I can tell you're a contented person, that's why. Anywho, I just, no, one wanted to see if I missed anything, two just wanted to kind of relook at it because I appreciate it. I mean, I'd love for there to be more of them, but I probably will have to wrap up soon. So I don't want to get into anything hugely deep. Not that these lyrics may not be. I also posted an original earlier today. Feel free to check it out. Put your comments. It'll be out of the back. So yeah. Again, I'm sorry about the slow points if you notice them. But I kind of feel like reading a little bit of something I wrote earlier. Music, life's a musical living. The dog's just playing with the ball there. I've done quite a bit of creative writing today, actually. Cut free from the news and waking even more to the truth. May not get as far as I want, but I'll reach for the stars because I want. I know rhymed with want, but whatever. And I will share my legacy as the words come to me. I will be less groggy. Get a doggy to love, diggity, more like than different. One humankind, many kind humans standing in line. Outweigh outnumber all the bringers of the good. Be the bringers of the good. How do I get as famous as I should? I got limits, but lofty goals. Smart, I'd say, and reachable. To the universe sometimes takes its time for things to get in line, so get in line. Cadence here and the double rays, sun and colors in the songs we play. Then the things they say and how we do, helping us all to get on through till we're on the other side of this life. And then this is just a little lyric that came up in conversation, and I was talking about how some people seem to be shy, and there was somebody who was there that left. And, I'll state again, I've learned. Not because somebody's necessarily told me, but I do think it makes sense to have realized that doesn't necessarily mean they don't like. That might actually mean they like a lot. It might actually mean something, I can't figure it out, about his vibe that I like. There's something about the way he talks or what he's saying that I like. And until I can figure it out, I don't want to watch. Who knows? Right? I don't know. Not to plant seeds in anybody else's head, but maybe, right? So, I'll wait till somebody tunes in to say the next part. And then I think I'll wrap up. I do feel slightly, even though the dog just kind of calmed down there, we do have to get on with our things soon. Hopefully, I'm a little bit worried about if I did just touch it and the thing jiggled there, so I have to get tight again later. I was trying to put the wrong one in earlier. And actually, I do think it might have fit as a replacement cord, but it's really short. And he's ready for the kisses whenever you are. Better to say the joy in your heart. But what a better place to start. But what a great place to start. No fear or judgment. Cause no one's immune. We need to get the creativity out of these rooms. That's a weird rhyme. But just some lyrics I came up with earlier today. What's this charged at? 38? Okay. And this one's 32. The 32 is very ironic. The 38 is actually my age, so it's kind of ironic too. But if that didn't keep him, well, there's only one person. It looked like there was only one person of rich for that to possibly, speak to. After the fact, I don't know, because it's got 49 minutes long. I guess I don't have to worry about finding that one video unless something changes. So I have to figure out that. And if I, did I find it? Oh yeah, and it's over here, but I came to newsfeed. The post that I was looking for just happens to be at the top, as well as in a interesting butterfly outfit. And yeah. There was something I was thinking about earlier I wanted to pin. Oh. Do I remember? Yes, but it might be on this device, so I'll have to look later. I'll slide this over to remind myself. But yeah, I want the first one there, and I can't just take the one. I can see that by that menu that just popped up. So I'll just have to say he got back to me and no. Found. And then as far as Tori, where is that? Is that this? Zipper, maybe mini, the Harry the main guy typed as bigger font until afterwards. But both schedules said welcome back 2025. Of course, what was options to mark as that? Usually thought it called or device important. Okay. I don't know what that is, but I can get rid of that one though. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I got some lyrics in, I got a bit more speaking in, and yeah, and I have something else I want to do. Or yeah, basically. So he doesn't use it back so quickly. I guess he didn't want to interrupt what I was doing. Maybe wanted to give me a bit of time with the thing that he brought home for me, which I'm not really focusing on at the moment, but at the same time, I can't not. So I think I'm gonna do something kind of related to that. And then there's the other thing I was gonna do. And then the other thing and the other thing, and life carries on. I will state, even though it's 51 minutes in and it doesn't look like anybody's here right now, I will state what I and many sometimes think when we're going through challenges or struggles and they stack up, and maybe we're experiencing more of those than the good, or it just doesn't seem to balance, whatever it is. Um, you know, I wish there was some people here hearing me say this right now, because I know that there are people that are experiencing and thinking thoughts of suicide or ideation. And I get it. And I would respect you, even not knowing you, I would respect, whatever you felt was right for yourself. And I can't promise that staying on this earth will be kind in the things that you want it to look like and be, as much as you want them to look like and be, to put it that way. But I'm going to finish this statement and then wrap up, because maybe somebody will watch it to the end. They'll skip past the skippy bit and end up going a little bit past that, unintentionally or intentionally, and then end up here. I want you to know that on this channel, whichever videos resonate with you and what you're going through or spark your curiosity, always here to chat. As long as our devices, mostly behave, always here to chat and be here for you. And, even though we don't really know each other, and to try and the viewer left, because I never. But other people would be so thankful. So this message is for those people. Because, speaking for myself and others that might be like this, there are some of us who do actually enjoy some things about life. I would hope that most people do at least enjoy some, and could never actually do something to themselves, and could never, the little bit that keeps them here, they keeps them here. And that can be hard. And there was somebody there briefly. They're like, you're just trying to keep me here, even if it's a little bit. That can be hard, because you don't want to feel like it's a struggle, or it's a battle, or it's like expectation, or like something that you feel like you should do, but don't want to. And to have to keep pushing through when you're struggling, I know, can be hard. So, just reminding you again that we're here for you. Somebody tuned in right as I said that, and perhaps you needed to hear it from somebody. Anybody, perhaps. That somebody is here for you, for what you're going through. Because we all need that. And there's no shame, when you go, and the viewer left. They're like, okay, I'm going to sit with that for a little bit, but he needs to get on with his evening. What are you, psychic? Anyway, see you later. Hola. You spent a lot more time up there than I expected.